David Singh. I'm a member of the board of the Guyana Forestry Commission. My area of expertise is conservation and the environment. As a high forest cover, low deforestation rate country, it was not, along with other countries similar to Guyana, we were not placing ourselves into the equation and forests and climate the way we should have been. Because, as a low deforestation country, it was felt that, there's no need to pay attention to Guyana. So Guyana joined the coalition of rainforest nations. This was way back in 2007, 2008 or thereabouts, I believe it was. And then out of that process, the government was convinced that really building an economic development model, which was on one hand built on economic development through investments in macroeconomic, making robust macroeconomic investments, while at the same time looking at the conservation of forests because of the substantial value that forests brought to climate change, to climate mitigation. And it was also felt that we could receive financing from the conservation and management of the forest sustainably, financing from the climate change, the growing interest in climate change to the country. And so the low carbon development strategy was born. How do we actually, based on our commitment to forests, to maintaining our forest ecosystems on one hand, how could we receive the kinds of financial revenues through a performance-based system, which can then be used for macroeconomic development activities? That was really the backbone of the low carbon development strategy. At that time, of course, the Norwegians were looking around for good examples in which they could invest, because they really wanted to start playing a more prominent role in the climate change agenda. And so it was a happy marriage between the Norwegians and Guyana. The Norwegians provided the kind of financing through the MOU with the government of Guyana, and out of that, Guyana then embarked on its RED Plus program of work. When you look at the Guyana's MRV system and compare to so many other countries that have been thinking about this, one would recognize that we are substantially ahead of the game from where we first started, which is practically 10 years ago when we started this. So from that perspective, yes, it was fast in the sense that we have made incredible progress over the from the time of the commitment that we'd had to now. But when you think it has taken 10 years to reach where we are, and when you think forests and the management of forests, the way in which people interact with forests change practically overnight, from year to year. Look at Brazil, for instance. A change in government has created a massive change in the way in which forests are managed in Brazil, just by the change in government. So when you consider what causes the sustainability in the management of forest ecosystems, 10 years is a long time. Practically, yes, we've made incredible progress over that period of time, but for the world, for forests to play its rightful role in the climate agenda, we cannot wait such a long time to move systems forward. And I would even argue that even at this stage in time, even though Guyana is so far ahead when it comes to our MRV system, alongside that we have not had the same kinds of responses that are absolutely necessary for countries to maintain this kind of commitment that they have made to RED+. I think the most important reason for this kind of response is the political commitment that the countries had through successive governments. So the Guyanese people have this level of commitment to forest stewardship, which crosses decades. And even when there was a change in government in 2015, there was a clear indication from the government, the new government of Guyana, of the importance of this kind of commitment. So political commitment is absolutely important. The second thing is, of course, having the human capacity. And that's one of the things that the GFC is obviously incredibly blessed with. It has not only been able to have a highly trained, well-trained, highly competent team behind the system, but has been able to retain that over time. The commitment of these young Guyanese women to the MRV system is unparalleled. And I believe those are two big elements. The third element, of course, which is very important in all of this, has been the sustainable financing. 10 years of support for the MRV system is not an it's unique, I believe, to have this level of consistent support from the international community for something like the MRV system, which does not show tangible development results, economic development results that you could obviously see. But this consistency in monitoring, reporting, and verifying how, in fact, a country is managing its forests is an amazing commitment that we've had from Norway. The challenges, I would say there's three basic challenges. The first one, of course, is the maintenance of the financing for the MRV system. The current program of work, the funding for that ends in December of 2020. There is great uncertainty of what happens beyond that. So financing is absolutely critical. The second element is integration of the MRV system into the way land is managed as a whole. Guyana has a wall-to-wall MRV system, which of course means that we actually have, at a very high resolution, a good idea of how, in fact, our ecosystems, not only our forests, but with a little bit of processing, we would have a sense of what other ecosystems are like within our country. And so we will, if the MRV system could be integrated as a matter of policy in the way the other agencies, the other land classes, the Amerindian indigenous people, the protected area system, the regions themselves, are able to access this kind of information to determine how to manage their lands better. I think that's an important step. The third aspect I believe is important is recognizing that this is, the reports come out at the end of a year and covers the previous year. And if we can have an MRV system that's a little bit closer to the time, real time is difficult, but closer to the actual time in which these changes happen, I think that would be an important element of it. So financing, integration into land management systems, and closer to real-time type of information sharing. Other side, when you look at our forest ecosystems and our freshwater resources per capita, we are at the top of the list. Guyana's gift to the world can be how it can demonstrate that. As an important anchor to that, absolutely important anchor to that, is a robust MRV system, but that we can use to communicate how effectively we are managing our forest ecosystems.